Welcome back. Good morning. We have a special one for you today, and we're very lucky to have this for the purpose of the video and everything. But anyway, we're going to get to the comment reading as we always do first. So thank you for tuning in, and everybody that has been joining in every Saturday morning for the Collectors Radio. And as usual, we're going to read some comments and everything, go through that. Again, the usual stuff. If your comment was not read, it's just because either you commented, by the time your comment got through, production had ended, or for some reason your comment was pulled or whatnot. So anyway, no particular order, shall we? All right, I got Stephen K. Absolutely beautiful Model 29s in your collection. Magnum Force is one of my favorite of the Dirty Harry series. That's right. Magnum Force, as we talked about last time, that is the one that's actually fully written by John Milius. John Milius is one of the definitely a really awesome writer and director in Hollywood that was doing a lot of really awesome movies. Another one to throw out there, just if you haven't seen it and you love a lot of old school action like 1911s and all that, it's actually a movie based on John Dillinger called Dillinger, where Warren Oates plays Dillinger in it. That movie is completely directed by John Milius. I do believe he directed that, and you can just totally tell it's written and made by somebody that loves the old school genre and firearms for sure. So he's also responsible for things like Conan the Barbarian. He wrote the lines that Robert Shaw delivers in Jaws and stuff like that. This guy's phenomenal. So a lot of those guys like that, John Milius, Walter Hill, Sam Peckinpah, there's definitely something to be said about a lot of those guys. So, yeah, there you go. That's who John Milius is. I hear again Stephen K. Continuing with it. I also like Last Man Standing with Bruce Willis. That is a Walter Hill movie. Walter Hill does a lot of stuff like that. He did not all of his films are good, but Walter Hill does take after a lot of Milius and Peckinpah and all that. He also did a movie called Trespass. If you're not familiar with that, Trespass stars the late Bill Paxton and William Sadler. Ice-T, Ice Cube, a lot of the known rappers that were turning into actors at the time. So another great film. All right, with Bruce Willis because of the 1911s in that film, absolutely. In some of the shooting scenes, if you count the number of rounds Bruce shoots through his two 1911s, it seems more than 7-round capacity. But great flick anyway. Stay well. Right. I mean, that's it. You watch that not for the realism of it, but for the sheer entertainment. All right. Michael Belair, hopefully I'm Bellar. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that, Michael. I know you've been a subscriber for a while and you've commented. You definitely love 29s. I know that. Old School Revolvers by Batjack JW are my favorite. Love your collection, especially the Dirty Harry 6.5. Yeah. There is only one Dirty Harry gun. That is a Model 29 6.5-2. That would be the Dirty Harry gun. That would have been the one he would have used during the time frame of the film and everything. That, pinned and recessed, a true 6.5 44 Magnum, no other. All the other rumors that he used something else was totally bogus, as it turns out. So, in fact, the gun that was used was given to John Milius, and John Milius, I think, donated it to the NRA Museum. All right. KSFWG, thanks for the video and sharing your Model 29s with us. I don't have a Model 29 2. I always wanted one, but I do have a Model 29-3 6-inch barrel and a Model 629 no-dash 6.5-inch barrel pinned and recessed. I collect Smith & Wesson revolvers, and I am partial to end frames. I have 11 K frames and 11 end frames so far. I have 2 Bianchi leather holsters, 1 shoulder holster, 1 belt holster that will accommodate either 6 or 6.5 end frames. Really cool stuff. I mean, when he gets to a lot of that stuff, Smiths and all those, there's really a good handful of really cool revolvers of the lineup and frame sizes that I really like. A lot of it has to do with a lot of films that I watched and was definitely, love one of, it's my favorite movies. I mean, such as Dirty Harry and whatnot. Well, the other one for me would be Witness with Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford is carrying a pre-Model 10 snubby in that six-shot Smith, in that. That's really cool to see. It took me a while to figure that out and actually acquire one sometime back. A lot of times now and then we're actually going to talk about one of the items today. A lot of this stuff has gotten to the point where I can't afford it. I go onto the broker sites and stuff like that. I'm looking at these prices, and I mean, I just can't do it. I can't afford it anymore. It's getting too pricey out there, and I've kind of exhausted selling off a lot of everything to accommodate to buy some new stuff, and I think I'm just gonna, that's kind of got to the point where they're just out of reach. So, all right, Joe P. Hey, good morning, Joe. So we get coffee for Joe. Just a gorgeous revolver. Wow. Love seeing that holster again. Magnum Force is my favorite too. It was my first rated R movie. I snuck into the theater with a friend at age 13. And we sat in the very first row thinking that would prevent us from getting caught. I can still remember watching the pool scene with my neck cranked back into the seat as far as it would go. I love stories like that. That's awesome stuff. I mean, so, all right. Harrison Mantooth, great video. Once again, Bat Jack JW many years ago. I got to shoot a coworker's 8 3/8 Model 29. What a sweet shooting handgun. It is. I mean, when I bought one, I almost didn't know what it was going to be like. But you actually, if you don't actually have one, or you haven't shot one, he's right. It is such a sweet shooting revolver. It really is. It's a tack driver. I mean, it's like I just can't explain it. It definitely is a unique revolver. I wouldn't want a barrel length any longer than that. It wouldn't. I don't think it would make sense to me at that point. I'd just get a rifle. But I wish now many times over I had bought a Model 29 and a Python back in the day. But I fixed on Ruger single actions. Nothing wrong there, and there isn't. Ruger is a strong firearm right there. I have a Ruger Mark II 22 I love. I just wish I had better foresight to expand my knowledge and collection. We got more. The old TV series John Wayne starred in as a detective, and the FBI influenced my decision to buy the Colt 4-inch Diamondback. Definitely. That's the only reason I still have one. The Untouchables of Robert Stack gets partial credit for my love for 1911s. My Uncle Bob was the other reason. He used the 1911 as Smith & Wesson K-frame models on his shooting team. Yes, I see years in the 70s, the range fastly disappearing in my rear mirror too. Okay, I'll shut my trap and close this thread. Best to you and yours, Bat Jack. I always enjoy watching your channel and look forward to each new installment. Thanks, Stan. I really appreciate that. And you guys like you are the reason why we do this, and we get together and we talk about all this stuff. So I do appreciate everybody. All right, Doug Rogers. I like your videos on older Smith & Wesson revolvers, especially the 44 Magnum. I recently started collecting at 66 years old. Nothing wrong with that. Never too late to start. All right, and I have a couple of pre-Model 29s. You are a lucky man. 1956 5-screw and a 57 4-screw, along with several 29-2, all unfired or so advertised. Who knows? And that's it too. I remember I used to get a lot of because I used to get that was the biggest for a while there. I mean, I've always said I had access to a lot of stuff. I have people that would lend me stuff for the video or whatnot, and to their knowledge it was unfired. Well, somebody says, well, the factory fires and all that. Well, of course the factory fires. So, I don't know. It's just like it makes you wonder. The kicker is my 1990 Smith & Wesson 44 Magnum limited production 500 with unfluted cylinders. And a 7.5 barrel and recessed cylinder. I had no idea it had recessed cylinders when We got more. When I bought it, that thought that it ended in 82. The seller and gun broker never mentioned it. And I keep up on the good work on the representing the wood and steel wheel guns. Absolutely. You know, they probably did that as a special run of it. I mean, it's very possible. They'll do stuff like that. But to my knowledge, as far as the Model 29s go, after Dash 2, they quit pin and recessing them. All right. Mark C here, great to hang out with you. I have an old Smith & Wesson 44 Special that came from my grandfather, I'm sorry. I've been trying to date it and find the original grips. It has grips like yours there, but I was told that they weren't original. I also have a set of ivory grips, but they're too small. A gun show guy told me that they're worth $600. Wow. And that Smith website can't date it. They say serial numbers back then didn't go in order. All I know is that it is a 5-screw and doesn't have a guard over the ejector rod. You know, again, I mean, you know, I would recommend check out get the standard catalog of Smith & Wesson. Sometimes those can be a great help. I used to have one, and I don't know what happened to it or where it went. I used to sit there and drool on that thing when I was obsessing over 29s. Really, it's both really helpful, but it's also painful because, I mean, you see a bunch of stuff that you wish you could get, and they're just unobtainium or they're just so priced out of range. All right, Slimfire 54, awesome radio collectors talk. JW, back in the previous video, you talked about the Dirty Harry movies, so I got the 4 DVD set and sat and watched them all. I haven't seen them for a long time. It was great, so thank you for the idea. Love the 29s. Thanks, Slim. You're welcome. Those are always good to go back and watch. I love those. I've seen them so many times, and I never get over it. Another good ones are Burt Reynolds films. I love those. In fact, somebody actually mentioned to me one time, they're like, hey, don't forget, have you ever seen Sharky's Machine? I'm like, only 1 billion times. 3, same year as the Magnum Force movie came out. I lucked out and paid a decent price for it. I'm still looking for a Python and a Diamondback to complete my collection of revolvers using that movie. A word of caution with those leather holsters. They are the worst thing for the finish. I bought one just like the one like a lefty like me. I put a scratch in it right away. I returned the holster and won't use leather again. If you're going to carry a holster like that, use cheap fabric holster like Uncle Mike's or Blackhawk. They cost $20, and if they wear out, they are cheaper to replace than dealing with holster wear. There is something to be said about that, absolutely. I usually don't carry them around. They're usually a range toy for me. If I do ever enjoy them, take them to the range and all that. But yeah, you know, I don't want to be too hard on the finish and everything. Obviously, I bought the holsters because of the movie. But yeah, definitely true about that. If you were going to carry your stuff, expect it to get, you know, scratched and worn. All right, KSFWG, thanks for the video and sharing your Model 29s with us. You're welcome. Ruger Detective, beautiful Model 29s. Jerry Johnson, too, gorgeous Model 29 revolvers. I will get my PSA AR-10 Gen 3 lower in 308 Winchester on Monday. Hey, hope you got it. Hope you're enjoying it. And last piece to my finish my AR-10 build. All right, Bitter Taxpayer. You got lucky with that model or that 8 3/8 punk. I did. I really did. I don't know how I lucked out with that. Oh, here's the comment. Ricky B. You'll have to watch Burt Reynolds' Sharky's Machine. It's got a Colt Diamondback in 1911s. That's right. He says, that's a lot of money to be carrying around there. He goes, my money comes with a friend. Colt Diamondback. Nice. Yeah, and it bites too. All right. Squibload. It's a light special. This size gun, it gives you better control and less recoil than the 357 Magnum wad cutters. If that doesn't encourage someone with a 44 Magnum revolver to get into reloading and make their own 44 special loads, I don't know what will. And I tell you, that is the best comment ever right there. And I even replied to that, and he said, thanks, my turret press is dedicated to 44 Special and Magnum. All right, Chris. When I had my 29, I shot at least 100 rounds of Magnum, and my wrists now pay for it. I shoot a lot more specials. I will admit that. All right, and Han John Pang. All right, he gave me a nice little thumbs up and a heart there. Okay, all right. So hopefully we didn't intentionally leave anybody out, but all right, let's get this closed down right here. Okay, so we have something cool to show you. I want to unbox it for you. This week is about 1911s and all that. There's some coffee grounds on the bottom here. I wonder if they taste good. Okay, 1911s. Now I've got one of these, and mine is a black oxide finish. And that's the one I've got, and it took me a long time to get it, and I will never let it go. It's one I can't change. Never let it go. We've gotten this before, and you know what? I just wanted to do it and talk about it a little bit further and different in this because we got some videos on it. We were doing some unboxing and things like that. But I wanted to just kind of make it, get it borrowed again and do this a little bit more. Yeah, and then also I had another idea because I told him, I said, I got this other idea I want to do. And I actually pulled together a few other people that I want to do a Colt 1911 video. So we're trying to come up with some ideas, and we're going to put that together. And this is going to be part of it. So that's another reason why we got it. All right. So for your entertainment and enjoyment, what we have here is, now to my knowledge, Colt in 2009, I want to say, Colt did this. And I wish they would do more of these, and I wish they would not do them in a limited number. I wish it would be a regular stock product. And for a lot of their stuff, I wish they would do this, because it shows that they have the capability and the parts and the tooling to do it, and they don't do it often enough. And they do it in such limited numbers. This here is the World War I commemorative or reintroduction, if you will, by Colt themselves. Who better to do it than Colt? Now, what's different about this one is it's the Carbonia blue finish. And that sets this apart, because there was I don't know how many numbers exactly. The outer sleeve. This is all the packaging. The packaging of this box is unbelievable. By today's standards, this is just gorgeous stuff. Beautiful blue box. I mean, look at that. I heard there was like 4,000 of these produced, and less of this Carbonia blue. There were less of these manufactured. And it comes in all this. You take this foam here off, and underneath you'll see all the paperwork and the packaging. It's really cool. They've got a booklet that is a recreation of the War Department booklet here. It's really cool. And I got videos on all this if you guys really want to get more obsessed with them as I am. And all the literature in it, it's really cool. They even went back through, and they obviously had all the original schematics and stuff, and that right there, so pretty cool. They got all that underneath the little foam packet. There's the answer to it, what it's called. Colt reproduction pistol. Some people will say, well, it can't be a reproduction because Colt did it. Well, there it is. I mean, and you got the wrench, the spanner tool, some other literature. Cable lock. Colt's cable lock they got in there. I don't think we even went over that last time. Here's one of the magazines that's still wrapped in the brown paper. We'll go ahead and leave that together. This is not my gun, so I got to be careful. I don't want to trash it or anything, or do anything that the original owner of this would not like to know about. Of course, who's going to tell them, right? All the people watching the video. The hang tag right here. The Colt World War I reproduction pistol. The orange tag, that's cool. All right. Okay. And then, of course, the box right here. And then, now from what I understand, in the serial number, the suffix WMK indicates it is a Carbonia blue, the 1911. So that indicates that it's a carbonium blue. And there's the 1911 in itself. Now, I don't know a whole lot about what that finish means, the carbonium blue finish. I do not know. I would be 100% honest with you. I don't know. I own the black oxide one of these. That's why I just really haven't really, I trust me, I thought about going after this guy and saying how much I want to buy it from you. It's funny is he's actually not really a 1911 guy. I don't know what the real difference is. I've got a black oxide one, like I said, and that's good enough for me. I've had it for a long time. I shoot mine. But this is just gorgeous. The roll marks, they got those roll marks down exact. And they are actual roll marks. It's not, etched in or anything like that. They got the the United States property mark right here on the dust cover, or right here in the front of the frame like it's supposed to be. The rampant pony right there. The wide spur hammer, the long one. It's definitely, it's got more of a spur on it. And the short grip safety, so you will get hammer bite from this thing. And the flat mainspring housing, which is smooth. The checkered grips here. Beautiful. Those really tiny sights that World War I folks dealt with. The ejection port is not lowered. Right there, you see, it's high, just like the way it would have been. Right, it kind of runs almost parallel with the lines of the slide right there. It's got an inspector cartouche right here, the mark. All right, and it's and of course on the other side of the slide, model of 1911 U.S. Army. Right there. These are so cool. I mean, if you like 1911s, gosh, these are just the ones that you need to search out for. To me, these are some of the brass rings of them out there. They're floating around out there. And I tell you again, I'm a Colt fanboy, and this thing just oozes awesomeness. You just can't help but just be in awe of something like this. And the fact that you can see that they can do this. You can see Colt can actually redo these. And I wish they would. I wish they would do these. I wish they would do their World War II guns, their commercial guns, So all that kind of stuff, this thing just has, and all the cool factor of it. So again, that Carbonia blue, I'm not entirely, I gotta admit, I'm just not entirely, I heard it's like it's a type of a charcoal blue, or it's very similar to the early finishes that were on these. Not like the super early ones, but I guess the kind of the other ones. Now, the other thing that fascinates me is, like, here's a commercial gun from 1930. This is a Colt commercial from 1930. Those roll marks on the other side of the slide, really cool stuff. And the bluing on this is, by today's standards, this thing is just, it's mind-blowing on the awesomeness about it. So, that's a really cool piece. And I like it just because of for what it is, It's got some knurling that they did, or the previous owner, or not the previous owner, but the guy that I got it from, had told me that the fellow that was in the service during World War II had it and shot it at Camp Pendleton and had this done to it. So to me, that's part of the history of this firearm and this and the coolness of it, because that was obviously done many, many moons ago. And the monetary value means nothing to me. I don't care. I mean, yeah, sure, that devalued it, but not to me. To me, it's all about this fine, 1911 that's traveled all those years. The guy I bought it from had this gun for like 50 or 60 years, something like that. I mean, not kidding. The guy is up there in age. So I'm very fortunate to have that. That is a cool piece right there. So, but anyway, when it comes to these things, I tell you, there's nothing like a Colt. I know there's a lot of other brands out there. There's a lot of other ones that are, and all that. But I got to say, you can't help but, when you think of a 1911, you think of the name Colt and what it means and all that. Sure, they're owned by different people over time and all that, but their name still is synonymous with the history, the heritage, that rampant pony that's on their stuff. I mean, irregardless, it's just, there's something about them. There is just something about them. And as a 1911 guy, the beloved pistol for me, got to be a Colt. I mean, if I could only have the one, it'd have to be something like this right here. Basic configuration. I've said that many times. So anyway, thanks for joining me in, and thanks for hanging out. And like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.